Hey all the PLC members, Maury Grossman here. Wanted to have a new video today about some assessments that you can do for quarterbacks, and this will just be good overall information to utilize when you get a new client or something like that, even with the clients that you have right now, just to give a little bit more information about what's going on in their body and how you can help that or correlate that into maybe some of the dysfunctions that they have when they're actually going through the throw. The first thing I always think is very, very important is how well can they balance, okay? So what I do is I just have one of them come up, and basically what you do is you have the front leg go up to 90 degrees. What this does is just makes it so you can create some consistency within the exercise. So it's not like, each time they have it at a different spot. Everybody's going in from the same spot. When you just bring it up in the front to 90 degrees. Okay, from here, we'll have them hold for 10 seconds with their eyes open, and we'll have them close their eyes and see how well they can hold it with their eyes closed as well. Really what you want to just see is make sure that they can hold it for a period of time, right? So if they start to get off balance there at the end, just like how I did, that's pretty normal. Really what you want to see is, once they go from eyes open to eyes closed and that ankle starts shanking around a little bit, that they're able to control and maintain that, especially on their landing leg, okay? So if they can't maintain any type of stabilization without having the visual feedback, which is what the eyes closed does, is making so now you can't have any way of bringing the eyes into actually controlling the joint, because that's what helps a lot when you have your eyes open is, okay, I can stare at something, I can hold that, and I know exactly where I am in relative to that point, and so I can balance and hold there. Now I take the vision out at its proprioception. Now your ankle has to be able to stabilize in space, and that's really what's important when as you're translating onto that front leg is you need to be able to control that front leg and make sure your ankle joint's actually able to absorb that force. Okay, if they can't stand there with their eyes open for 10 to 15 seconds, then you already know that person's not going to be able to do it with their eyes closed, and you also know that they're not going to be very effective of transferring their weight onto their front leg. The next test is going to be for the overall shoulder stabilization. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we have them just go stand straight up first, and we'll have just a 90, and I'm going to just do this on the right side. You'd want to do it on both sides, just like with the balance test. So first I'm going to have them stand straight up, and I want to see what their external rotation is like here. And really what their hand should look like is it should be able to go past their spine, right? So my spine's straight up, and you can see how the angle of my forearm is able to go past that point, okay? And then we want to be able to go and bend over at about a 45-degree angle, so just like a nice little, almost getting into like a golf stance, okay? And then still be able to get to that same range, okay? So what you'll see is sometimes people have good range standing up, and then when you're here, all of a sudden that range gets less. And really there's three different ranges. There's past the spine, there's even with the spine, and then there's below the spine. Okay, what is functional is past the spine. Okay, being even with the spine is really fine as long as they have that here as well as here. It's the same on both positions. If you have underneath or not in a functional position, that's not good. Or if it changes, right? So if I'm good here, then I bend, and then I go to having equal. Now that's telling me that this person has some type of shoulder stabilization problem or rotator cuff stabilization problem, so they're not going to have the ability to really have a lot of strength within the shoulders. Okay, and I would do that on both sides. Really, their throwing arm is going to be where you really want to make sure that that's good. But I would look at both sides just to make sure, because that will impact some of the thoracic spine rotation and things like that. So make sure that's good no matter what. The next few actually have a dowel involved. I don't know if you want to use. You could use a really range of different things here. It just helps you in making sure that you can see, how much range they're getting. You could actually don't have to use a dowel. You could have it so they just put their hands on the hips. But I like using the dowel just because it makes it a little bit more objective, or you can actually have an area where you're actually looking to try to get to, okay? It just makes it easier to kind of measure and judge, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with my left leg, and I'm going to take my right leg, and I'm just going to put my toe right in the middle part of my left leg. And now from here, I'm going to rotate as far as I can to my left side first, and then I'm going to rotate as far as I can to my right side. And really what we're judging here, what we're looking for, and I can move this right leg too as well, just to make sure that you guys know that. What I'm looking for is how well can that hip rotate. Okay, so I'm looking right now at the left hip, because I'm letting my right hip move freely, and then I'm going to switch, and I'm going to do the same thing here, rotate as far as I can onto my right side, then as far as I can back into my left side, okay? So hips feel like they're moving pretty freely here. at least today, but you'll see people that when they go and they rotate, they'll really have a hard time going in one direction. And what you're looking for is how well can, basically one part is the loading phase, right? So on my right side, if I'm going here, that's telling us how much they can load the hip. And then as we're coming here, that's going to tell us how much they can, kind of push off and create a good amount of force within the hip going that way. And it's the opposite here. So when they're coming this way, that's going to tell us how well they can load. And then when they're coming through, that's going to tell us how much weight they can kind of transfer forward and how much range they have in that position. So it's a really, really good test just to tell kind of how your overall hip is doing and where you have good range of motion or maybe limited range of motion and how that could be impacting the actual throw. All right, so I'm actually gonna do two different ones for this one just because I think that not everybody's gonna have a chair here, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your right leg and bring it over the left leg. I'm kind of in the front part of the chair just to make it so I don't have any weighted sheet kind of leaning back. So first I'm gonna take my right leg, cross over, I'll have the dowel onto my back again, and then when my right leg's crossed over, I'm gonna rotate as far as I can to my right. This just checks thoracic rotation. If you can do this one, this is really the best way to do it. If you can't, that's okay. Now I'm gonna go with my left leg and transfer that one over. What this does is locks that left hip in so I can't cheat there. And then I'm gonna rotate as far as I can to my left side. A little bit more limited going to my left side. Okay, so now this will tell me as I'm coming through the throw that I might have a little bit of trouble coming through here. Maybe I'll start to kind of, my thing that I do when I'm throwing is I kind of lean forward here, right? And so I go into thoracic flexion rather than fully utilize thoracic rotation, and maybe because of this limitation in my left side thoracic rotation, that could be impacting it. So by helping me get a little bit more thoracic rotation with that left hip being stable will actually help me out during the throw, okay? So these types of things are what we're trying to do within the performance lab. We're looking for the physical as well as the quarterback related stuff. So we want to see if there's just maybe some restrictions in the body that are making it so you're not getting to the throw and the mechanics that you want to be getting, okay? Now the next thing that we could do, that same type of exercise, just if you don't have the dowel in the chair, is you just go and you can just go and grab the hands here, okay, and make sure that their feet stay down the entire time, so you don't want to make it so they're they're rotating or their heels are coming up, okay, and then grabbing onto their own chest, they're just going to go and rotate as far as they can to the right, and then as far as they can to the left. You can kind of let the hips move freely. This is really going to be mostly a thoracic rotation test standing up. What you're really looking for though, and I'm going to turn to the side here, is for them to maybe hyperextend, right? So I'm rotating, I'm extending in my back. So I'm here and then trying to rotate. That's obviously dysfunctional. That'll probably create some overhead problems. Or the other thing would be kind of more of a bending forward as they're rotating. I know it doesn't seem like something that would be a common problem, but a lot of people actually do that, where they'll kind of rotate coming forward or they'll rotate and kind of extend, okay? And then you just know that functionally they just have some problems in rotation within the spine. That's obviously very, very important for any type of quarterback. So that's going to be something that you need to be able to see and correct. All right, so for this one, what we're going to do is you go up against a wall. If you don't have a, I try to get anywhere you can go. I have a little golf club here that I'm just putting behind the back. The goal is you want to be able to press your torso up against the wall. I'm just slightly bent here in the legs, kind of doing like a wall squat here. And now what I'm going to try to do, and this is going to just test my lat range of motion. This will help me be able to see how well I can go overhead without getting into that hyperextension of that back, right? So we always are seeing this, especially in the lats. So we want to actually figure out maybe why that's happening, as well as if that's just an overall position that is just accomplishable by the athlete. Okay, so I'm in a half squat position, I'm pressing up, and if this golf club or whatever you want to use, stick, whatever the case may be, if that moves at all, then you know that they have already started to go into hyperextension. We need to work on some core type of stuff. But from here, they're keeping their elbows straight and slowly coming all the way up overhead, touching just their thumbs to the wall. Okay, so my hands are all the way straight, touching my thumbs up above my head. Okay, so those are the 5 different tests that we can do, or assessments that you can do to really help you out while you're working with quarterbacks to see, okay, first, how well can they transfer their weight onto one leg with that balance test. We're also going to check to see what their hip range of motion is like, just to make sure they can actually utilize their hips, and if they have any restrictions within creating rotation either side, and then we're obviously going to go after the shoulder, and we go after the shoulder in a few different ways. We're going to see how well can they come up overhead without hyperextending, keeping that core on. We also want to see how well they can really externally rotate, and do they have a good stable scapula. So if they can externally rotate well in just an upright position, but then not when they're bent over a little bit, then we know that there's some scapular instability, probably going into some thoracic rotation deficits. And then we also actually test the thoracic rotation. We could either do that sitting or standing. Big thing is we want to see how well can their spine just functionally move, because that's also a big part in being able to generate force during the throw and really actually have good mechanics during the throw. So if you have any questions about any of these assessments or any of these tests, let me know. Would love to be able to help you out. I try to be able to connect, okay, this is what you want to try to improve. If you find that the test is a little bit limiting, if you want to have some exercises or anything like that, let me know. I'd be happy to help. You could also check out our strength and conditioning video within the membership page, and that will probably also give you some good helpful ideas. Okay? Thanks again for being a PLC member. Looking forward to continuing to post videos for you.